Welcome everybody to Steve's Wrestling Ramble here, part of the channel here, Sports Talking Network channel. This episode here on Thursday, the week before, soon to come, 4th of July, coming up on Tuesday. Hope everybody has a great holiday weekend. Whether for work, those 4-day weekend or whatever. Hopefully, have fun with family, friends, and whoever else. Have a good time. I know I will with my own family here in the Badger State here in Wisconsin. But here to start the episode, I have Palmer J. Simmons here with me, part of the show, friend of the show, all of the jazz. So hopefully Mark and others will be able to join in as is. I guess I'll welcome Palmer, and if he has anything he wants to start off with, we'll go from there.
All right, hey guys. I hope y'all have a good weekend. And I'm here to join the fun.
Well, that's good to hear. But what's the first thing that you have been waiting for, chomping at the bit for the whole 7 weeks or 7 days, not 7 weeks? What's the first thing you want to discuss here on the show? Anything, throw it out. Whatever first topic you want to bring up.
Okay. Well. How you feel about New Japan coming to America?
Comment, Jay.
No, I don't really care less really about New Japan. I mean, I hear they're good and stuff, but if they come to America or stay there, I wouldn't really care either way how that would go. What are your thoughts on it? You're interested in it?
Yeah, I'm very interested. I hope they come to the South.
Now, I see Kyron's here, joining the team. I hope if he's still there. How you doing, man?
What's up, Steve? I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good.
So, Kyron, what? I guess we were talking about the New Japan thing. What are your thoughts on that? New Japan or rumors of them coming to U.S.
You said New Japan might be coming to the U.S.
That's what Palmer was saying.
Well, if I'm being honest, I don't follow New Japan in the slightest. But I can give you my thoughts on what I think about it. I think it could be a good opportunity for Japan, but at the same time, it could not be. Because if you Americanize New Japan Pro Wrestling, I think it'd be pointless. But at the same time, it could be a good opportunity for the brand. Who knows?
Okay. I guess the biggest thing that I wanted to bring up, that's why I use Carmelo's theme to open the show, is the second ever Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, first ever Women's Money in the Bank ladder match on SmackDown Live this past Tuesday. Carmella getting the win, already being a 2-time briefcase holder in the women's division. And I see here, Marcus joined the show. So let's get everybody's thoughts on the women's Money in the Bank situation since Money in the Bank pay-per-view and everything surrounding that. And when do you think, each of you think Carmella is going to cash in, and do you think that'll be a successful cash in or unsuccessful? We'll start with Palmer.
Well, I think Carmella might cash in Payback. When Naomi defend her championship, I think Carmella gonna come out and she gonna do her finisher on her.
You mean Battleground?
Yeah, Battleground.
Okay.
And she gonna win it, and it's gonna be successful.
No, I like that, sooner rather than later. I am a fan of Carmella's. I have no issue with that. What are your thoughts on everything, Mark, on, again, the women's division on SmackDown Live, the Money in the Bank situation since the pay-per-view, and when do you think Carmella will cash in?
Well, first of all, guys, how are you guys doing? I hope everybody had a great day. I think, first of all, I don't think Carmella's going to have a successful cash in. The only reason is because, personally, I think the push that's been giving to her is not going so well. I don't think she'll have her time to shine, but I think they're going to do things a little differently. She's going to have an unsuccessful cash-in. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I like the fact that Carmella won, though, because I had her winning the Money in the Bank match. But at the same time, you know how I feel about James Ellsworth. He's the GOAT. We're just letting you know that now.
Shut up, Mark.
Certainly might look like it.
I like it. I like the fact that he was there, but then I disliked it because it added something different to it. I just think they could have had a better Money in the Bank match. There were some things that they did that I didn't necessarily agree on. They were moving the ladders as if it was like somebody was gonna die if somebody falls off of it type of thing. They're moving it too gently. It was just, it's a ladder match. Let's make it a ladder match. But I don't think Carmella's gonna have a successful cash in, and I don't see it being anytime soon.
And Kyron, what are your thoughts on everything?
Well, first off, let me just say I like how really all three women's divisions have been booked on the last three shows. Raw with the Gauntlet, a really good Gauntlet match for me, if you ask me. Especially at the end with Sasha and Nia was pretty good. SmackDown with the women's Money in the Bank, and last night NXT. I love that last women's standing match.
Exactly,
that was good.
That last women's standing match was amazing. But on the women's Money in the Bank, I agree with Mark that they were being too gentle at times. But I actually enjoyed this more than the one at Money in the Bank, not just because it had a definitive ending and seeing. I gotta be. No. We have that. Not the fact that it had a definitive ending, also seeing Ellsworth get dropped on his crotch on the ropes made my day. But I just felt like it was better. Granted, like we said, they were being too gentle and just like picking up all four legs of the ladder and moving Carmella and not really having her take a bump. I thought it was kind of dumb. But overall, I thought it was really good. And on the windshield cash it in, I agree with Mark. It won't happen anytime soon. I think, and I don't want it to happen anytime soon. I want Carmella to hold his briefcase for a while, just like, not Baron Corbin. I'll talk about him another time. But with Carmella, I do want her to hold it for a while, at least past SummerSlam and maybe even to Survivor Series. And when whoever the champion is, whether it's Naomi, or I think it'd be a good storyline if they have Becky win the title and then Carmella cash in until Becky it slips from her again. But no time soon would I have her cash it in.
Okay. As I look here in the live chat, LPH is good. A good friend of mine. Knew him actually. Met him when I was part of the Main Event Marks podcast here on YouTube. That is no more. You can't find any trace of it here. But LPH is good, saying she will pull an edge. I think he's speaking of Carmella. Excuse me. I assume he's speaking of Carmella cashing in like Edge, or being an opportunistic type of a heel, whatever he meant by that. Either way, that's what he said verbatim. She will pull an edge, and for me, I think that she'll cash in, but I think it'll hold all the way to early next year, as in within this WWE calendar year, but around WrestleMania season, whether it's before WrestleMania, at WrestleMania, or the SmackDown Live after WrestleMania. I was going to say Raw, but no, SmackDown Live after WrestleMania. One of those three shows, events, or whatever, timetables, is where I think Carmella is going to successfully cash in her women's Money in the Bank briefcase and become the new SmackDown Live Women's Champion. I know I'm saying that kind of jaded as a big fan of hers and stuff like that, but I do believe that's what WWE does want to do with her, and I would hope that's what they would want to do with their first women's Money in the Bank briefcase holder, whether it is Carmella, who I'm a fan of, or if it was Becky Lynch, or if it was out of nowhere in Tamina Snuka. Whoever was going to be the first woman to get that briefcase to have forever be etched in stone as the winner of the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match, to also, with that first contract, successfully cash in. That's how you, or at least to me, that's how you build that brand of the Money in the Bank. Now, I think, if I remember correctly, the first men's Money in the Bank ladder match that was at WrestleMania, before it had its own namesake pay-per-view in WWE, I believe that individual successfully cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase to become WWE champion. So I hope the same is given to the women and to Carmella specifically, of course. And when she does cash in, whenever it is, if it is when I think it is, or if it's when either three of you think is going to be, I do hope that it is successful, not just as a fan of Carmella, but for what they should do with whoever it was going to be in the eyes of WWE. Again, we're putting history to it, and WWE being big on the history, on the first evers of this women. And that brings me to the next question to all of you fine folks. And those in the live chat watching live, you're welcome to give your thoughts to this and answer this as well. And I'll read it here on air. But I bring this to my panel here. What do you think is the next step in the women's revolution? Do you think it's headlining a Big Four pay-per-view, a women's Money in the Bank, or women main eventing WrestleMania? What do you think the next step is, and what do you think the end goal is out of anything that you think? The end goal, the biggest thing, the last thing that will be on that checklist, so to speak, the invisible checklist of the women's revolution and all the things to check. What would be the last thing and the final thing that will be checked off, whether it's 4 years from now or 2 years from now, on everything for history making for the women's division in World Wrestling Entertainment here in WWE. So the two-part question: what do you think is the next big thing, the next history making for the women on WWE, and what do you think the last one will be if there wasn't a checklist for the women's division? Let's start this time with Mark Ramble.
You know what? I think I'm going to start with the last thing. I think the last thing they're going to do is they're going to have a main event match at WrestleMania. I think, to be honest with you, that's the end goal. I don't know what other goal that could surpass that and be bigger than headlining WrestleMania. I could see that happening in the near future, but currently I think the next big thing that they're going to have for the women's evolution, whatever you want to call it, is going to be the Royal Rumble. They're going to have a women's Royal Rumble match. I strongly think that's going to happen pretty soon. It's just going to take some time. I don't think their roster is that deep enough yet, unless they have NXT wrestlers or maybe they recruit some wrestlers from the Mae Young Classic. Because let's be real, the women's roster in both SmackDown and Raw are not big at all. I think they need more bodies there. They need more people there. With recruits from, the Performance Center, maybe possibly the Mae Young Classic, which would be the best part of my summer, in my opinion, if everything goes out as planned. And both the SmackDown and Raw women's roster, it should be pretty good if they have a women's Royal Rumble. The main event in WrestleMania, that should be great. Currently, the booking and the writers and the creative team is just not working right now. Same with like the tweet you had, Kyron, with Bailey and et cetera. It's not working. They need to, brainstorm if they're going to do something like that, like main event WrestleMania. It has to be great. It has to be on some Sasha Banks, Bailey, NXT type stuff. But yeah, up next, in my opinion, is the Women's Royal Rumble, and I'm excited for that.
Same here. I hope that's the next one. And before I go, before I go to Kyron, who'll be the next person to give his thoughts, I'm going to share some thoughts here in the live chat. LPH is good, continuing to give some good ideas here in the chat. Talking about the ending of the women's Money in the Bank second match and saying, I think he's answering the question for the next one, being a woman's elimination chamber. So that's his vote for the next thing for the women's revolution, a women's elimination chamber. Let's get Kyron's thoughts on everything. What do you think the next step is, and what do you think the final step is?
Well, the next step technically is actually the Mae Young Invitational Tournament that's about to happen. And I'm glad they named that the Mae Young instead of Fabulous Moolah for obvious reasons. I think that's obvious. Well, that's technically the next step. But after that, I agree with both of you guys said. A women's elimination chamber would be pretty good, but I'm not sure if I think they're gonna do it this year. But I can definitely see a women's Royal Rumble happening. But like Mark said, that neither roster is really that deep for it. So maybe you can bring some women from NXT maybe Asuka, Nikki Cross,
Mm-hmm.
Ember Moon. Those are my favorites from NXT. But I think the end goal is a WrestleMania main event with women. But a few things you have to realize. They have done a pay-per-view main event with Sasha and Charlotte, and while I liked it, it didn't go over well with a lot of people. So you have to make sure you have two women who know what they're doing. Granted, I wouldn't want it to be Sasha and Charlotte again because the chemistry those two women have, the feud, while the matches were good usually, started to get boring. Also, you have to make sure you got the blueprints done. For example, like I said, Hell in a Cell, while Charlotte and Sasha main evented, I think you need to do a few more B pay-per-view main events first. Maybe like not Battleground, but a SmackDown, a Raw pay-per-view down the line. Maybe Sasha and Alexa Bliss can main event, and later on a SmackDown pay-per-view, say Becky and Charlotte, and keep building like that. Then eventually you can get down to a big four, maybe Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, or even SummerSlam. And then after that, you go on to WrestleMania. So I think if you're going to do a WrestleMania main event, start with the B pay-per-views. Then eventually, after it starts going over better, you move on to a big four, such as Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. Well, not Royal Rumble, but Survivor Series or SummerSlam. And then if all that goes over correctly, maybe in about 3 years, we can get a WrestleMania main event involving women.
All right. And Palmer J. Simmons.
Well, I agree with all you guys. I think probably next year they're gonna have a women's elimination chamber, and then maybe 2 to 5 years they're gonna have a women WrestleMania event. So who should be in the match? I think the 4 horsewomen should be in the match. Really, I mean, they made women's wrestling really. So yeah, I like how WWE is pushing these women, because like 5 years ago, women's matches was bathroom breaks. Dude.
Right. Yeah, it was. Not taken seriously. Short matches, barely even getting to 5 minutes matches, and bathroom breaks.
Some barely went 3 minutes.
Some even went less than a minute. So some barely even got any time. So yeah, that's exactly right. So I guess continuing talking about the women, because why not, since we're on the subject, and since it already was brought up, the Mae Young Classic. I'm looking forward to it. Will be the highlight of my whole entire summer. Maybe wrestling-wise, at least, depending on how SummerSlam goes. But it's up there. There's other things with TV shows and other things going on this summer that I think are going to be my highlight of the summer. But in that respect, in wrestling and specifically WWE, I think it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I look forward to seeing these other women from other promotions, territories, whatever, in a WWE ring. Kind of like I said, heading into the WWE Cruiserweight Classic. And my new favorite superstar, who I guess was signed, but I've never seen him yet on Raw or the 205 Lives, Grand Metalik. And his match was the very first match in the whole dang event, the whole dang kickoff of the tournament was Grand Metalik match. And I became a fan of his instantly. So me becoming new fans of new female superstars, female wrestlers, of course, athletes. I look forward to seeing them, how they do, and not just seeing how they do in like if they advance or that stuff, just seeing how they do in the ring and in their matches and get the normal tail of the tape. I mean, I know our WWE did a fine job with their Cruiserweight Classic in kind of having a big show before the shows. Excuse me, so to speak, to talk about all the wrestlers and competitors that were part of it and tail of the tapes and this and that before the tournament even started, kind of like a bracketology, I think it was called. Hopefully they do the same thing with the Mae Young Classic, have a bracketology show. Excuse me, I'll have a bracketology show and get to learn more about them, tail of the tape, and then obviously see them in the ring when they have their matches during the Classic. But I think that's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to. I know a couple of them from the ones that are already been announced, but barely any, like 3. Even though more than a couple, just 3 women wrestlers out of the 6 or 8 that have been announced. So I'm looking forward to getting to know all the rest of them. And Not saying obviously I'm not going to become a fan of all of them, but whatever ones I do and whatnot, and certainly is going to be an entertaining tournament as it should be. But just the fact that we continue on this show, and I'm sure the podcast do, continue talking about the women's revolution, women's wrestling. And here we're almost now 3 topics in and still talking about women's wrestling. It's a great thing for women's wrestling, good thing for WWE. Or as Carmel even called it, girl power. Overall, just a great thing. And I think even who's even more so ahead of this besides Triple H is the woman number 1 of WWE, Stephanie McMahon, Stephanie Levac, being the catalyst of everything. I know some superstars or female superstars like the claim to fame of who started the women's revolution back then, called Divas Revolution, not the Women's Evolution. But either way, whoever superstar did or backstage or whatever, it doesn't really matter, because in the end, they all made the women's like its own brand, its own thing, and it's just becoming greater and greater, better and better. So I want to get you guys' thoughts after that rambling of the Mae Young Classic, what you're looking forward to the most, and any other thoughts on it as well. We'll start with Kyron.
Now, I'm going to say something. I didn't even watch the Cruiserweight Classic last year. I meant to, but I never did. I never took time out of my day to watch it. But that being said, I am going to watch the Mae Young tournament, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, they get a lot of women from outside WWE. Granted, I don't follow the indies as much. Like, the only company I watch other than WWE is sometimes I watch WCPW. But that's about it. It should be good. Hopefully, you can get some of the women actually in WWE now, such as, I'm talking about the best women, as in Charlotte, Sasha, Becky. I wouldn't get Asuka in it because with her being undefeated, I wouldn't put her in a tournament, then just wreck her undefeated streak. So I wouldn't put Asuka in there. But it should be a good tournament. Hopefully, they can sign a few of the women from there, and we get some new women, because all the women divisions at times get stale because you don't really have a lot of really like competition you can buy. In NXT, there's only 2 women who I can buy can really beat Asuka at the moment. That's Nikki Cross and Ember Moon. And on SmackDown, you have Charlotte and Becky and probably Carmella, who are the only 3 women I can see challenge for the title. And on Raw, all I can see is Sasha and maybe Nia Jax, because we all know what WWE did to Bayley. So hopefully this leads to new women on the roster, and it's just a great time. It has great wrestling throughout.
Palmer?
This Mae Young Classic should be very interesting. I don't want to see no WWE divas. I mean, women wrestlers or NXT women wrestlers in it, because I want to see like more independent wrestlers in the tournament. I hope like they do it. I hope they do the same thing like CWC and the England wrestling thing. And I love to see. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot. Underrated wrestlers in here. So yeah.
Okay, and Mark Rambo.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Palmer when he said that there should be more independent wrestlers in there. If you guys heard of Candice LeRae, I think she should be on it. Obviously, Tori Storm's on it now. If you guys watch British wrestling,
Nixon Newell. Nixon Newell.
No, Tori Storm. Have you heard of her?
No, have you heard of Nixon Newell?
I have not. I have no idea who that is. But I know Candice LeRae and Tori Storm. Those are probably the top 2 independent female wrestlers that I know. I know Candice LeRae because of the Young Bucks. Him and her and Joey Ryan, if you guys watch that. But yeah, really, if they have more independent wrestlers and add new faces with different fighting styles, it should be good. It should be better than the Cruiserweight Classic. Because I'm kind of with Kyron. I was on and off with the Cruiserweight Classic. I just thought about it. If you guys watch New Japan, I actually thought technically the Cruiserweight Classic was the same as the Best of the Super Juniors. If you guys watch that, which is like 100 times better than the Cruiserweight Classic, but if they add more faces, new faces, there should be like Charlotte. If you had Charlotte to the Mae Young Classic, if you add who else could we add? Natalia, somebody who has like a background within the wrestling business, then that should be good. Because then you have people like, I know I keep bringing her name up, Candice LeRae going against Charlotte. That would be a pretty cool match. I would love to watch that. But I think new faces, different fighting styles, going at it, I think it should be great. I'm telling you, that would be the highlight of my summer. If something happens or something crazy happens or they have a good match, that would be the highlight of my summer watching that. I'm looking forward to this. Like, you guys have no idea. I watch a lot of wrestling, and I know a lot of like female wrestlers who are good that should sign up for the Mae Young Classic. Probably won't. But yeah, it should be good. Fresh faces, different fight styles. It should be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, just like I said, seeing new faces, seeing ones that I've either never heard of, maybe even somewhat heard of, sort of thing. And I'm sure there'll be superstars that maybe that I've heard of but haven't seen them in action, because of the promotion they're part of that aren't on television, or I haven't really heard too much of. It would be awesome if the one female interview that I've had so far on my channel was invited to be part of it. But we'll see. But anyways, moving on. Actually, you know what? We'll move on. We'll talk about Monday Night Raw. I was gonna specifically talk about Bayley, but at some point we got to move on from talking about all women here in this episode. As great as it is, Monday Night Raw. Did you guys see it? What do you guys think of it? LeVar Ball and the other segment of the show. I think. Yes, indeed. So since Mr. Rambo was talking first, we'll let him have the floor. What are your thoughts? Anything and everything you want to expound upon about Monday Night Raw? The floor is yours.
Okay, this is the first thing I'm going to say with Monday Night Raw. For those who are irritated or mad about the Ball family and what LaMelo said, you have a point, okay? But let's be real. You cannot lie. That had to be one of the funniest segments I've personally seen in a long time. LeVar Ball made that segment. Let's be real. LeVar Ball made that segment. Because if he wasn't how LeVar Ball usually is, that would have been a very boring segment. Let's just be real. Because typically when there's celebrities, the superstar talks back to the celebrity, they get in each other's face, and then somebody who's in the feud with superstar comes and then does whatever they have to do. But LeVar Ball went out of the line, out of the typical thing, took his shirt off, started going crazy like he was the Ultimate Warrior or something, and just going berserk. And then you hear, excuse my French, I'm just repeating what LaMelo said.
Don't say it, Mark. Don't say it, Mark.
I'm not gonna.
Don't do it, bro. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm gonna bleep myself. I'm bleeping myself. Beat that N-words ASS. Okay, that was a bit far, but it was still funny in my opinion. Not once did he say it. He said it twice in live TV. My opinion, that was hilarious. I was in tears when I saw that. LeVar Ball running to the ramp into the ring. His leg gets caught up. I thought that was just perfect. And they were doing absolutely nothing. I don't even think they knew what they were doing, and probably till after the fact, probably like a day later. Other than that, you had the gauntlet match, was amazing. Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar. Come on. If Joe does not win, then we really have a problem. Samoa Joe is getting a push. He's really making Lesnar fans worried, so to speak. And I'm a fan of Brock Lesnar. I'm a fan of Samoa Joe. So honestly, at this point, I kind of want Samoa Joe to win because he'll be a champion that actually fights. You know, he's not a part-timer like Brock Lesnar. That's the issue that I have with Brock Lesnar. I think if he's going to be a champion, at least come to Raw and at least be relevant instead of staying home or whatever you do when you're not on Raw. And that's the difference between Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar. I want Samoa Joe to win at Great Balls of Fire. And the gauntlet match, I already knew my wife, Sasha Banks, was going to win, so I don't even have to discuss it. But overall, Raw was great.
All right, Palmer J.
Hey, I gotta admit, that LeVar Ball segment was the best segment of 2017.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I never laughed so hard at a segment before. You know, I was in tears when Gamel said, I'm not going to repeat it. But
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Yeah, please don't say it.
I'm not going to repeat it. But, you know, you can't sit here with a stare face and say that segment was trash. You got to admit, LeVar Ball got mic skills. You know, I mean, it'd be cool to see him as a manager in the WWE, you know? But anyway, you know, I'm kind of liking this Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar match, you know. I still got my boy Brock Lesnar winning this. You know, I don't think Bayley getting her push no more. I'm sorry, but I don't think that no more.
Oh, you think?
I was waiting for Kyron to say something. I was waiting for him to pitch in.
But anyway, you know, this Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks match should be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought Nia Jax was going to win it. But yeah.
Yeah, she kind of should have. But it went the way it went, whatever. We'll get Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss at Battleground. It'll be a great match. I'm not saying it's not, because Alexa Bliss is awesome. And Sasha Banks is Sasha Banks, so we'll deal with that. I was a little annoyed, and I did say in my Raw review, which I am doing now weekly on this channel, an extension of Steve's Wrestling Ramble podcast, that I was a little annoyed with Sasha getting the win, but I guess if they want to have the match at Great Balls of Fire, another match to try to bump up this first ever, because it is the first ever Great Balls of Fire. It should have been the return of Bad Blood, but I'll get over that. And at some point. And so having that match at Great Balls of Fire is a good thing in the long run, but I selfishly would have wanted them to hold that off till SummerSlam. Now, maybe the other way of thinking of it is that maybe we'll get Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss one-on-one at WWE SummerSlam. That certainly would make a lot of, or some people that I know, happy, like Jay of Talking WJ. If that is certainly the case either way. But, all right, but Kyron, what are your thoughts on Raw and everything in between?
I'll be honest, I didn't watch all of Raw. I obviously had to watch the LeVar Ball segment. I had to watch that. Watch the Women's Gauntlet, and I had to watch stuff with Joe and Lesnar. And I'm gonna talk about all three. First off, stuff with Joe and Lesnar. It's been great. Obviously, I want Samoa Joe to win, but I know he's not going to. I'm just tired of Brock Lesnar as champion, and he's not showing up. I got no problem with him being the big draw that he is, and trust me, Brock Lesnar's a once-in-a-lifetime athlete. Not trying to take anything away from him, but Suplex City is really starting to get boring. And maybe it's just me, but I think Samoa Joe, he won a title. He's got everything he wants in wrestling. He's got the size from Vince McMahon. He's got the independent background, the actual work rate that hardcore wrestling fans like, and he's got the mic skills to boot. So what's not to like about Samoa Joe? Now, the stuff with the women. I think, well, first of all, I get to the women. I love seeing how Joe nearly choked Lesnar out. It pretty much made my night. Moving on to the women's gauntlet match. I think seeing Nia Jax dominated was pretty cool. I didn't like how they jobbed Bayley out in about 2 minutes, but whatever. What else? Now I tweeted about this. Remember, I said that I think Nia should have won the gauntlet, saving Sasha and Alexa for SummerSlam, because I think that could be a SummerSlam match. Because if you ask me, they're the two best women on Raw on the mic. But I think here's how I would do the storyline. I think it's gonna be a really good storyline leading up to SummerSlam. At Great Balls of Fire, which is still a stupid name, might I add. have Alexa cheat to beat Sasha. And then you have a storyline where Sasha can't win on the big stage because she never won a title on pay-per-view. All 3 of her title wins were on Raw. So build that up, and at SummerSlam, she takes the title from Alexa Bliss. That's a really good way to end the storyline. Now let's get to the LeVar Ball stuff. Now this comes from who's a huge basketball fanatic. I know a lot about LeVar Ball. I said before, he's the most annoying and funny person on television. A lot of wrestling fans didn't like the segment. I saw someone complain, it was too crazy, and I told him, if you can't complain about crazy, you don't know LeVar Ball, because that's his whole shtick. And I even saw some article saying it was the worst segment of the year, and some said it was worse than the This Is Your Life segment. No way, no chance in hell was it worse than that. But I think that it was a funny segment. I don't like what LaMelo said, but thankfully it quickly went by, and WWE did issue a formal apology for it. LeVar was, of course, great. Miz, great again. LeVar and the Miz had the chemistry I was begging for, and of course, and it was just great all around. Sure, it had some dumb moments, but like I said, knowing LeVar Ball like I know him, you gotta come in things. You gotta go into things revolving him with that grain of salt. You gotta expect something stupid. If you're going in thinking something serious, you're gonna hate it. But if you go into the segment thinking it was gonna be like lighthearted and dumb, you're gonna like it.
Yeah, that's the way I went into it, not expecting so much. I actually thought he was like overacting a little bit there, being in the ring, than just being himself. Yeah, himself is a crazy individual, which doesn't have a filter, as people would be said, like he did at the draft. Talking about Lonzo being that missing piece, and the Lakers are going to be in the playoffs next year. So there we go. I guess if he said it, it's going to happen.
No, they're not. The Lakers are in the playoffs. No, they're not. Don't even think like that. They're not. They're not good enough yet.
I don't know. Don't tell Magic Johnson you said that. But
I love Magic Johnson. Had the utmost respect for him. My second favorite player of all time. But and the Lakers still have more pieces to get before they can make the playoffs. As I think Lonzo could be a rookie of the year candidate, but Lakers aren't going to the playoffs this year.
But like I said, my expectation going into it wasn't too much, and I thought it was for what it was. The segment entertaining. I did see, though, WWE put out a statement about the N-word being used. I technically was used twice during that segment, but I obviously didn't have any issue with it. Just a kid being a kid. You give him a live mic on television, what do you expect? He's going to say something crazy. Maybe not that far, but something. Especially with who his father is. They have their own warped sense of reality on things growing up with LeVar as a father. So certainly did enjoy it. Enjoyed the women's gauntlet match. Like I said, just thought Nia should have won. Samoa Joe choking out Brock Lesnar. Yeah, I guess that was good for Joe's character. Being that badass Samoan, I still think this is a one and done, a one-time only affair with Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe. I do see here in the live chat LPH and saying, if the rumors are true, I don't mind Roman versus Joe or Roman versus Brock for SummerSlam, because the end game is John Cena versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, in his opinion. So that's LPH is good. His thoughts here in the live chat, and I, to an extent, agree. I don't see them doing a second match, no matter how good this match is. They should know, or that's why they had Samoa Joe win. They knew this match could be pretty good with big hosses and pardon my front ass kickers that Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe are. That they will and should put on a good match at Great Balls of Fire, but I don't see a part 2 happening at SummerSlam. I see Samoa Joe. I don't know where I see Samoa Joe with a feud off the top of my head, but for Brock Lesnar having a big time match at SummerSlam for himself against Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns will take care of Braun Strowman at Great Balls. And stuff like that. I don't want to give away all my predictions until next week, but I think Great Balls of Fire can actually do pretty good. If only they didn't call the pay-per-view that, it's still going to be good. And it's certainly the way that the build had been for most of the feuds and and let's just say all the feuds really for Monday Night Raw. Even the Intercontinental feud with The Miz and Dean Ambrose still continuing from holding over from SmackDown Live. That all of the whole card's going to be almost star-studded, almost like it is a SummerSlam card. Only obviously it's not in a lesser degree, but we do get the SummerSlam. It's going to be Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. Samoa Joe won't be in the title picture anymore. I'm sorry if you're a Samoa Joe fan that's listening out here, but that's just how I see it. No matter how good the match is, I don't see WWE having a part 2. And I don't see any squash match. I don't see Brock squashing Joe or Joe squashing Brock. It's going to be 20, 25 minutes. Going to main event the show, this and that. It's going to be great, but we've seen Joe doing what he did to Brock was surprising. One, I didn't expect that even to happen. I thought Paul Heyman would just, keep cutting the promo, talking about Joe when Brock got on the ring and Brock having that mean look on his face and Joe coming out or from behind and choking him out, still in a sneak attack way, but in the ring, not while Brock was on his way to the ring. So that's certainly, at least in the eyes of fans, showed that, a storyline showing that Joe has balls to do that to not only the Universal Champion, but the Universal Champion who is Brock freaking Lesnar. So that on top of the others, certainly going to make that match certainly interesting, and I'm looking forward to it as I am all most of the other matches as well, heading into Great Balls of Fire. Before we move on to SmackDown Live and the actual show, I want to talk about a news item already that I want to bring up. We usually do this after both show reviews, but I want to bring up now, and having to do with from I found Forbes.com talking about how WWE might already be looking to end the brand split. Due to ratings, that the brand extension, not brand split, I guess it's technically called brand extension, but whatever. To end it prematurely because of the ratings for the shows. The fact that they're doing the whole John Cena free agent thing now is choosing up something for that and moving forward. I guess I'll give my thoughts first before letting my teammates speak. I think if they are going to do that, the earliest that can happen is WrestleMania time for them to dissolve the brand split in a way. I don't think they should, though. I think they should have for a couple more years, have a couple of drafts, let it breathe for more than a hot second. But the ratings are the ratings, and I guess maybe WWE is seriously thinking of just ending and having a big together show. And think of it this way: if they do it sooner, we could get the first ever Women's Royal Rumble sooner, because then we have all the women together, plus whoever WWE signs from the Mae Young Classic. Maybe they'll have another Cedric Alexander moment where it's a superstar that got eliminated, but the fans really loved and wanted to resign, and Triple H will come out there, raise her hand, and bring her to the back and next superstar. But either way, I think with those additions, plus the ones coming through and going to NXT to include Nikki Cross, who did a bang-up job in the match with Asuka in the last woman standing, so it wasn't all Asuka, by the way, to those that said that on Twitter, that they can fill out a women's Royal Rumble. And maybe it doesn't have to be 30, maybe it'll be 20. Still, you'll have enough female superstars to fill out a Royal Rumble. If you'll have one for 2018 Royal Rumble, if A, they end the brand split by then, and B, if they do sign more than 6 talent from the Mae Young Classic. So that's I guess my my thoughts on it all, and I'll let you guys give your thoughts on the news, or the rumor really, from Forbes.com. We'll start with Mark Ramble.
I don't like that idea at all. I just honestly think it's poor writing. It's creative team's fault. Let's just be real. Let's just take it back to this. Okay, the draft, the brand split, that whole thing, it was cool when it first happened for the first time. Second time, I think the first time it happened, it was just a different era, You could do things that you couldn't do nowadays. Now they bring it back, and it's just terrible creative, ideas. There's no creative juices flowing. With the brand split, you could actually do some stuff. You could bring back the World Heavyweight Championship belt and I don't know anything, and bring that into SmackDown and give Raw the WWE title belt and take away the damn cruiserweight. I mean, take away the damn Universal belt. It's ridiculous. I don't know. You could do anything, but I think the brand split was fine. Really, I don't think. I mean, hell, they could even do a little invasion like they did at one point in Survivor Series. You know, they have so many different things they could do, but they're just not thinking about it because they're stuck on, you know, one gear. Oh, you know, let's do the same BS over and over and over again. It's just not working. I think the brand split was cool. I think so many good things could have came out of it. But if this rumor is true that they're thinking about, you know, canceling brand split, then, well, you know, what's next? What are you going to do with all these belts? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. What the hell are you going to do with the Universal belt if there's already a WWE title? What are you going to do with the SmackDown tag team titles? There's already Raw tag team titles. I mean, it wouldn't make sense. So that's just what I'm thinking.
No, I understand. But you know where the easy fix is, whether it's the right or wrong? But the simple fix, simple minds, simple ideas.
What?
You have your Universal Champion face SmackDown or face the WWE Champion, and then the winner is, we're having them merging the belts. So SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, Raw Tag Team Champions. The IC in United States are always have been their own, so they're fine. They don't have to face each other. They're not meshing those two together because that'd be the stupidest thing WWE would ever do in their lives. So we have those two still mid-card titles. So I think that's the quick and easy way WWE would do that, especially if they're going to do it hot shot quick and they're just wanting to, end the brand extension because of whatever the ratings and pressure from USA Network even. You got to think of that aspect as well. Shareholders, this and that. It's not 1990s. It's not 1990s anymore. It's a different WWE. Back then it was WWF and the Attitude and all that other stuff. Now they're PG. Now they have others to listen to and answer to outside of their own brain trust. So I think with all those entities and things going on, if they do dissolve the brand extension and have everything together, I think that's the quick and easy way they're going to do it. They're going to have the main champions face each other, the tag champions face each other, and just put them all together and continue the history of what those champions have been putting them together and moving on, as they did when they pseudo-retired, because I don't even know if they officially have retired the belt, but when they put the world title with the WWE title, now being just called WWE Championship. So I think that's how they would fix it. At least, again, that's just my simple, quick thinking of what they would do with the belts. But Kyron, what are your thoughts on the news or the rumor of it all, and what Mark brought up about the championships?
I'm going to go back to what I said a few weeks ago on the show when a similar topic like this brought up between me and Raunchy Mikey. I think doing just undoing the brand split is a dumb idea. For one, while yes, there has been some very terrible stuff, and we all know what a lot of that has been. I feel it's not because of the brand split. I'm not even gonna blame PG. I don't have a problem with PG wrestling, honestly. And I have no regrets in saying that. My problem, like Mark said, is bad creative writing. You have writers that don't know what they're doing, and like I said, and that hurts a lot of wrestlers. If I had to say, for example, like the ratings are down, if I had to say the single most fixable problem in WWE today, I wouldn't say 2 Hour Raw, I wouldn't say PG, I wouldn't say 50-50 booking, even that's a close second. It's bad creative writing. Both overly scripted promos hurts wrestlers, and then the what chant happened because they're disillusioned from the crowd. So I think that undoing a brand split would not solve this rating problem. As a matter of fact, I think it make it worse. Because when the brand split wasn't happening.
Yep, I agree.
Be honest with me. When the brand split wasn't happening, who was actually watching SmackDown? I didn't watch SmackDown at all because there was no reason to. And then the brand split happened, and a part that has to do with the fact that Dean Ambrose, John Cena, and AJ Styles, 3 of my top 10 favorite wrestlers in WWE at the moment, went to SmackDown, so I had a reason to watch it. And SmackDown usually does better than Raw. And I think if you just undid the brand split and put everyone on the same show, there'd be no reason to need to watch SmackDown again. Now, Steve, what you said about the titles, if they were to undo the brand split, would be the best option. But at the same time, I just don't think just putting everyone back together would be the best option. That would make it worse because, like I said, no one want to watch SmackDown anymore. And while yes, Raw can find a way to fill those 3 hours, and they can't change that because they have a deal with USA that goes into 2019. I've said before what you can do to make that third hour better. Because for me personally, when I'm watching Raw, once it gets to the third hour, that's when I start to get tired and bored. What I would do is, if you had to use that third hour, use it to develop more superstars. Instead of just using it for stupid things and more segments that no one really cares about. That's just my take on it. I wouldn't redo the brand. I wouldn't undo it. I think the superstar shakeup actually hurt a little bit because you took really some SmackDown most important people and put them on Raw, and you didn't give Raw SmackDown a lot to deal with. I mean, besides Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I guess you'd say Jinder Mahal. But other than that, I would not stop doing the brand split. I think this has been a great idea, and they should keep doing it.
Homer?
Yeah, I agree with all you guys. You know, they should never stop the brand split because, like Kyron said, you know, back when they didn't have the brand split, I didn't even watch SmackDown. I didn't even watch WWE. Like, if they end the brand split, then I'm not going to watch WWE no more. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
But anyway, the creative team is trash, dog. I mean, can we hire some new people? You know? I mean...
Well, technically they did. Tyson Kidd, well, not really creative, but production. He's now a full-time worker with WWE, so that was cool to see that he might not wrestle anymore, but WWE still had a place for him when they could have just turned their back in a way. So that was nice to see. But continue.
Okay. You know, I don't like it when wrestlers have to read a script. I mean, can the wrestlers read off their mind? You know, you know, like Mark said, I've been said this. They should bring back the Raw Heavyweight Championship belt. You know, cause you know, I had that Universal Championship belt look ugly, dude. Like bring the World Heavyweight Championship belt on SmackDown and bring the WWE Championship on Raw. Also, like, they should, like, if they end the brand split, what they're gonna do with all the belts? You know, you can't just like retire them. Like, you got SmackDown Tag Team Championships, SmackDown Women's Championship. Like, come on now. But anyway, you know, and when 2019 comes, you know, I hope WWE changed their third hour to a second hour because, like Kyra said, when that third hour hits, you get tired.
Hey, there's one thing I want to say about what you just said. You said you wish wrestlers could go off of the stop using scripts and go to using their mind and stuff. Well, rumor has it there was issues in the company. They were trying to find out who was going to be up next with power and like who's going to take control of WWE once Vince either retires or he passes away or anything happens. Who is going to be up next? What's trying to happen and what people are saying is Triple H is going to change WWE. It's going to be less scripts. It's going to be more. There's going to be less talking. It's going to be more fighting. It's going to be. If you ever watch NXT,
yes,
you notice how it's not a lot of. It's just not a lot of talking going on. The interviews are different. You know, just look at yesterday. You know, the interview they had with Asuka where she was in the car. They were following her. It was a different scenario. It was different scene, different background. People weren't used to it if that was their first time seeing NXT and always watch WWE because they're so used to the Vince McMahon way. Let's just say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off or anything.
No, you're good. You're good.
Well, remember, it wasn't always like this.
Exactly.
For example, one coach did a video on this exact topic, And what he said was, here's a picture of a script from Raw 2000 and Raw 2014. In 2000, sure, it has highlighted spots of what they want, but the rest is just general narrative of the superstars saying what they want. But nowadays, everything is so scripted. And you have wrestlers who have seniority who ignore, like The Rock does it. John Cena pretty much ignores half the terrible script. You think some of the jokes he tells, they eventually made him say words, but he ignores it. But how do you feel if you're a wrestler nowadays and you don't get that privilege? How do you feel if you're Roman Reigns and you get a script that says, what was it? You're a sniveling sack, suckling succotash, something like that. And that hurt Roman more than anyone. And he took the full blame for it because it was written down for him and he can't just ignore it. And don't forget, Austin 316, that was ad-lib. Can You Smell the Rock is Cooking was ad-lib. Think about how those two wrestlers, The Rock and Stone Cold, two of the greatest of all time, and definitely two of the greatest mic workers, they got over because they used their own voice and unique voice. But since every wrestler nowadays is scripted the exact same, they don't create, there's no special identities. It's not everyone like that. Paul Heyman is the greatest mic person of all time, if you ask me. You still have people like the New Day are pretty good. You got certain wrestlers who are really good. But like I said, since every wrestler is scripted by the same writing staff, no one has a special identity. And that hurts wrestlers. And this, for example, I keep going to her, but Bayley's a prime example. And Mark, you brought it up. In NXT, while she didn't have the best mic skills down at Eva, they didn't have long, drawn-out promos that would expose this weakness. But when you're on the main roster and they give you a mic and you got to talk for 7 minutes without, and it's overly scripted, that disconnects you from the audience. And if you saw Extreme Rules, well, I wasn't one of them. She got booed by a lot of the audience because no one liked her. Well, I wasn't one of the members in that audience. That works because that's how it goes. And the cruiserweight, same thing. Other than Neville and Austin Aries and maybe Jack Gallagher, no one cares about any of the cruiserweights because none of them have their own identities.
Yep, I'm gonna agree with you because you look at it then. Let's come to like a time comparison, a year comparison. Back then, let's look at it. Would you say? I mean, let's say this. I'll take that back. When they're going straight, off of their head, they're not being scripted. It flows a little bit easier. They don't have to remember what to say, and it seems like, okay, this is legit. And when you listen to somebody, let's say for example, you listen to James Ellsworth, he's god awful on the mic. We all know that. You listen to Carmelo.
He's god awful. Period. He's god awful. Period. Don't nice on the mic. He's god awful. Period. Mark.
You listen. I hate to bring this up, Steve, but sometimes I even think Carmella, she's not the best on the mic. You could tell it's scripted by the way they sound. And then you look at The Rock. I understand it takes time. It's gonna be a little while. It doesn't matter because The Rock, he's perfected the mic. I mean, you could put him on the mic. You don't have to give him anything, and he will make the crowd, hype and everything, and it will just sound like it wasn't scripted. Nowadays, this whole, you have to remember what you say. You have to speak for 7 minutes and remember what the creative team, Vince McMahon, quote unquote, told you. It's hard. I feel sad for the wrestlers because sometimes that's not them. And you give these characters to these people and then you tell them what to say and then you expect the crowd to just automatically gravitate towards them. It's not going to work like that. I think times are changing, really. Let's be honest, in WWE and in wrestling, period. Because I'm going to bring...
Go finish.
Oh, and I was going to bring this up. I don't know if you guys are familiar with some wrestling brands outside of WWE. I watch a lot of wrestling. I watch different types of wrestling promotions. But I'm going to bring a couple up in particular, probably just one, but if time allows, probably like one more. But you look at New Japan. If you watch New Japan, they are not scripted at all. I mean, just they're coming straight off the head. They're coming with fresh topics. The only thing that is scripted is the rivalries. People in that ring, when they're cutting promos, they are not reading off of scripts. This is what they think. It's raw. It's not, if you don't do this, then nobody's gonna like you. But the thing is, You look at Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, his stuff is just perfect in Japan. But the thing is, though, it's perfect in Japan, and people love it. If you were to come to WWE and have it to be scripted, people will automatically catch on the fact that, hey, this isn't really Kenny. You could tell this isn't Kenny Omega because Kenny Omega doesn't talk like this, you know? So you bring these two in the equation. WWE needs to be like that. WWE needs to allow their superstars to speak for themselves and not give them a script. And I bet there would be a difference.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be more authentic with the heart, better promos. It just would come off better in their delivery as well, whether heel or face promos that they're doing. But moving on, let's talk about SmackDown Live. You guys give your thoughts. Like I said, I do now my review each week for SmackDown Live on the channel. Palmer J, I'll let you go first. What's your thoughts? Whatever you want to bring up here from SmackDown, you wish to discuss.
Okay, this Jinder Mahal match, Randy Orton, the Punjabi prison match, the last time we had it, I think it was like 10 or 12 years ago. They could have did a lot better on that match. But hopefully, like, this match should be interesting. Hopefully they can do more better than the last one with Great Khali. And also, what am I about to say? The women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I knew Carmella was going to win, and I knew James Ellsworth was going to interfere. I like how this push they're giving to Carmella, but her mic skills are trash, bro.
Oh.
Like,
oh no.
I'm sorry, Steve. I'm sorry, but her mic skills are trash. The James Ellsworth, trash. But they could have did the Money in the Bank match a lot better. So yeah.
Okay. Mark Ramble.
Well, actually, what was it? I'm a little confused on the topic of discussion. What was it?
SmackDown Live.
SmackDown Live.
Thoughts on SmackDown?
SmackDown Live. Other than the Money in the Bank match, which we already discussed, the Punjabi prison. I haven't seen that in God knows how long. The last time I saw it, it was awful. So unless they modified it, it's still going to be a pretty awful match considering the last time they had it, it was like ridiculously bad, and the Great Khali was involved with it. I hope it will be good. Knowing where WWE is at now, probably won't be that good. I think this is the time where Randy is actually going to win this belt, possibly. I mean, I hope not, but considering where Jinder Mahal is at and how he's been winning, it's possible. Don't count Randy out. I never count Randy out. He could win, but let's just see. Really, the highlight of SmackDown was the women's Money in the Bank match in Jinder Mahal and AJ Styles. Of course, AJ Styles. Anything with AJ Styles is great. But yeah, it was pretty good. I liked the episode. The women's Money in the Bank match, part 2, was really good. But like I said earlier, there could have been some better things they could have done with it. But I don't count them out. They're always great.
All right. Before I go over to Kyron, I wanted to give a shout out to the BSP Wrestling Show now in the chat with LPH is good. Saying what's up to everybody. So saying hello. Hopefully, actually, I'll be doing a collab video with the host of the show there, talking about the Women's Evolution Revolution that we kind of started off the show with, talking about for the first 20 minutes or so with 4 topics there. So again, BSP Wrestling Show YouTube channel. Check it out, subscribe, and go from there. Kyron, your thoughts on things on SmackDown Live in this past week?
Well, I already gave my thoughts on the women's Money in the Bank ladder match part 2, Electric Boogaloo. I enjoyed that. I really like the Fashion Files segment with Breezango and Ascension, but then again, Breezango's just been killing it all the time. The backstage stuff with Daniel, AJ, and Kevin's pretty okay. I'm looking forward to the Battle Royal next week, which likely AJ is gonna win. I'm trying to think of anything else to talk about before I really get to the Davey title stuff. Oh yeah, Lana losing Naomi under a minute, didn't really care, but and also I disagree with Palm when he said that Carmella's trash on the mic. She's, I think, good promo from her from time to time, and a promo she cut last week on SmackDown was honestly a really, really good promo. Only problem with her promo this week, the only problem with her promo this week on SmackDown was it was a carbon copy of that. Mm-hmm. But moving on to how I feel about Randy and Jinder. One, I love when Shane came out and said, Randy, you can't be this mad about Jinder attacking your father because this is the same stuff you've done, which I completely fell out laughing at because I was really just about to tweet that. But about the Punjabi prison, you have some fans who are looking forward to it, other fans not. But then again, that's for some fans in general nowadays. I'm surprised the match got a big pop from the San Diego crowd like it did on Tuesday. Now, some people say you don't do it because the first two are terrible. Well, if I had one match featuring The Undertaker and The Big Show at The Big Show's fattest, and the other one Batista versus The Great Khali, I'm pretty sure those matches won't be that good. So you can't really blame the match because when The Great Khali, I had a really good match. I'm being completely honest, serious when I say that. So you can't really blame the match for it being terrible because as much as I think the participants. So I want to see what they're going to do with Mahal and Orton here. I mean, I don't really care about this feud in general. I'm not the biggest Mahal fan, and I've called Randy Orton Blandy Borton for a reason because I find him boring when he's a babyface. So I just want to see what they're going to do. I'm going to watch the match, but I really don't care that much.
And I have something I don't think it's going to shock anybody here, but it might shock some of the listeners watching live or archived. But I have a theory what's going to happen happen next week on SmackDown Live. Yesterday's a holiday episode. Usually WWE is lazy with writing holiday episodes because holiday episode people are usually not watching those. That's why maybe they try to have with John Cena's return being, with John Cena being the All-American guy. To return on a SmackDown Live or on a show on the 4th of July to try to boost up ratings and have people watch for the holiday episode. But anyways, the thing I was going to bring up is Rusev appearing and being part of the Holiday Battle Royal, whatever it was called, Battle Royal for to become the number one contender to the United States Championship and to face Kevin Owens. I think that would be pretty cool. And then you have Rusev winning it, and not AJ Styles. We all think that's going to be the way it's going to go. And it says Swerve and has Rusev winning. Well, he's making it to the end. Either way, having Rusev part of it, I think it would be a great way to reintroduce him. Yes, even though he was flapping his gums about not coming to SmackDown Live until he got a WWE title shot, but still coming back now and to try to come after Kevin Owens. Plus, I thought I saw something in wrestling about him face off with Kevin Owens at a live event. So maybe that's already building up to something. We'll see. Then again, Nakamura and WWE champion Mahal were having matches in live events, and that's why people went with Nakamura to win the Money in the Bank ladder match, become Mr. Money in the Bank. So for their reasonings there. So you never know. It could be just what it is. But that would be kind of interesting. It would certainly be something to be talked about. With the Money in the Bank stuff finally finishing and ending there with the women and having a clear-cut Miss Money in the Bank. I think that would be the big talking point of SmackDown Live besides John Cena, technically, to discuss from a holiday episode. Another way to prove that, hey, you should watch every show every week. Even holiday ones you can't miss. Can't miss. You never know what happens. Blah blah blah, stuff like that. And Rusev making a splash and appearing there. So, what are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you think there's a chance? What do you expect? Or do you think it's just going to go AJ Styles, simple cut dry that way, and have AJ Styles win the whole thing and to face Owens of the U.S. title at WWE Battleground? Travis?
You said, what do I expect for SmackDown next week?
What do you think on having Rusev make an appearance and win that Battle Royal?
There's no doubt in my mind AJ's going to win because the stuff, like I said in the Backlash review, you can't just have a match between Kevin Owens and AJ Styles end on pay-per-view by count out and not have a rematch. So, and plus, I want to see that match again because I'm a huge fan of both of them. And you know it's going to be great. And the feud didn't really end. And so I think putting Rusev in that Battle Royal would be a mistake, actually. Because if AJ wins it, which I'm pretty sure he's going to do, you putting Rusev out there for the first time since last time we saw him, I think, was Fastlane. First time since Fastlane, he's just going to lose. I wouldn't do that. I would have Rusev's first feud be against someone, be a really good feud and have him win. Not just losing the Battle Royal and then go back to doing nothing. So I think AJ's still going to win it, and I wouldn't put Rusev in the Battle Royal.
Mark Ramble? Mark? Palmer J.
Well, at first I heard someone said that Rusev was going to face Jinder Mahal at Battleground or whatever. But anyway, you know, I don't really like Rusev like that. You know, he's like overrated though. I'm not gonna lie.
Huh?
He's overrated. But anyway,
Wow.
no, I got my boy AJ Styles winning this Battle Royal next Tuesday.
Okay. And Mark Ramble, what do you think? Do you think there's a chance Rusev making an appearance, chance of him winning, or do you just see it going AJ Styles' way to set up that match, AJ Styles Owens at Battleground?
You see, what I think is going to happen is AJ Styles is going to win that Battle Royal, but I don't see Rusev coming at that time. I see him coming after the Punjabi prison match, possibly. You know, Rusev, when he was at the live event, SmackDown live event, I mean, that it's a clear sign that he's healthy. You know, he's back to wrestling, but they need to find a spot where he could be good at. This whole time he was complaining he won't come to SmackDown Live until he gets a title shot. Why not do it after, the Punjabi prison match? It would only make sense if you think about it. It's a title match. He could attack whoever is winning, and that could build a feud for the SmackDown Championship. And it brings Rusev to the picture. Because this whole time people forgot about Rusev. Now they're awoken now, and I guess Rusev is back. I don't think he'll win on his first try, but they'll bring Rusev back into the roster in a good way.
Yeah, and him coming back and having a WWE title match at SummerSlam, good way to come back, even in a loss to Jinder Mahal if that happens, and make even Jinder Mahal stronger. If he does retain the title, I know most are saying that he probably will lose at SummerSlam. The title reign won't be going for too long. As I said when he won it, 3 months. It has to be 3 or more months for me to feel that this Mahal Championship reign is legit. WWE want to push him, and it wasn't just for the other reasons given of why he became WWE Champion. So we're keeping up on that, but hopefully he retains it. Well, hopefully he retains the Battleground. I think he will, and then retaining at SummerSlam. I'm going from there. And if it is retaining against Rusev, that makes Jinder even greater and solid as well, because then you defeat Randy Orton twice. You defeat Rusev, who came back, fresh, ready to go. I think that would be better for the Mahal character, good for WWE, and I think legitimizing even more Jinder Mahal as a WWE champion moving forward from SummerSlam at that point. If that indeed does go down that way, we have Rusev against Jinder Mahal for the SmackDown Live, for the WWE title on SmackDown Live for the show. So, all right, those are for SmackDown Live thoughts. I'm out of topics with bringing for news-wise. We already talked about Mae Young Classic, Women's Division, and other such things. I'll throw it out to the panel if there's anything they want to bring up before we go. So we'll just go right in a row. Kyron?
I'm good. There's nothing I want to bring up. Everything I want to say to you guys, I said on Twitter. There's nothing much I need to say to you guys right now.
Well, that's true. Mark?
Guys, watch the New Japan G1 special. Access TV, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. I think 7 p.m. Central. I don't know, but watch it. That's all I gotta say.
And Palmer J.
Yeah, who's getting that new 2K18 WWE?
Well, I will for sure get it.
I might.
For sure.
I'm done with wrestling games. Until they bring that back, something I actually want in a wrestling game, I don't plan on getting another wrestling game anytime soon.
They need to bring back Raw versus SmackDown since they haven't brand split.
They need to bring back some of the features that made some of the best wrestling games fun.
Exactly. They need to bring back like freaking, I don't know, GM mode.
No, the ability to go anywhere you want from outside the arena to jumping off buildings to inside a train station. That's what they need to bring back. If they brought back something like that, I would get that game probably on launch. And
Sasha Banks needs to be on the next cover of 2K19.
Wow, I love Sasha too, but your love her is a whole nother level than mine.
No, not just Sasha. I was just saying in a women's wrestler, period. It could be Charlotte, it could be anybody. I think it's time that they should put a women wrestler on the cover. But you do know the love runs deep. The love runs deep, Carl.
Yep. Okay. All right then. I guess go through everybody again, even though you didn't get their last. So welcome. To plug your stuff, I'll find you on Twitter and otherwise social media. So we'll go right in a row again. Kyron.
Well, you guys know, find me on Twitter /BroKyron. Pretty much all my social media. YouTube, Kyron Chase. Basically, RINCHASE. On YouTube, I talk about wrestling. I talk about Sonic. I talk about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. And actually, just today, I uploaded a video of the Money in the Bank forfeit of my younger brother getting a bucket of ice water dunked on his head. You're going to check that out. So, yeah, I love being here every week, and hopefully I'll always be here.
Yeah, so always do have a place here. Mark Ramble.
Hey, guys, you already know what it is. My Instagram is Live Like Ram, and my Twitter is Marcus Ramble. The M, the I, and the R are all uppercase. If you guys wanted to talk about WWE, Ring of Honor, New Japan, Progress, Evolve, whatever the hell, technically any wrestling promotion that you could think of, I'm pretty sure I know it. Hell, even Fight Nation, if you guys heard of that. WCBW, it does not matter. If you guys are wrestling fans, I would love to talk to you guys. You already know what it is. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've been a little rusty with it. It's been about a week since I put up a video, but I have been very, very busy. But I plan to upload some today. No, not today, this weekend. I apologize.
And Palmer J.
Yeah, find me on Twitter at Supreme Palmer. And find me on IG at Palmer Got Trophies. And if you want to ask me anything, tweet at me at Supreme Palmer.
All right, and welcome to follow me on Twitter at WWE_podcast or my personal Twitter handle at Army_strong_06. Obviously, welcome to check out everybody's channel. I do have. Yes, I do. I think I was just thinking. I do have Kyron's channel now added there. If I don't, I will make sure to add it there on the side on channels that I promote or I have been on. So Kyron's, Mark's, and Palmer J's, check them out. Subscribe to their channel after subscribing here first. Of course, welcome to like this video, share the video to other friends, to W Superstars, to Triple H himself. I don't give a crap. Do whatever you want to do in that way.
Sasha Banks.
It's always it's Sasha Banks. Hey, send it to Carmella. I'm using her theme. I'm using her theme for the intro and outro. So send a tweet to Carmella. So why not? She is Miss Money in the Bank. She is going to be enjoying her 4th of July weekend here with that and everything. Might as well send a tweet her way. Maybe she'll spend a couple minutes watching us talk about her and Women's Revolution here in this episode. So, yeah, Carmella, Sasha Banks, whoever you want to tweet the video to and the link. Always really appreciated. Thanks to LPH is good and BSP Wrestling Show for stopping by and giving their thoughts in the live chat. And those that watch the archive and want it's posted, give your thoughts there in the comment section below. I always do reply. So as always, hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Enjoy your weekend. Happy holidays. I will be back for the Raw and SmackDown review on this channel. You might even see some of my team members part of those reviews. Again, it is an extension of this podcast, so they are more than welcome. Always an open invitation to them to be part of those shows if they are so able to on those evenings. I mean, it is summertime now. I would hope their availability is more flexible than it was during school years. But as always, take care.
Bye. Peace.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.